is the story spread over 3 decades of a man, his wife, and a team of ace architects to die for. His convictions in architecture translate into a philosophy. He creates spaces that affects emotions, and he listens to the language of the land. He is the epitome of everything green, and he is Ar.Sharukh Mistry. Ar.Sharukh is a man who truly walks his talk. A man who lives in a green today and hopes for a greener tomorrow. Ar.Sharukh is passionate about his art and often reminisces about the day he had to pay his employer to hire him. In 1980, along with his wife, he set up a sensitive design practice, the Mistry Architects. This team of ace architects with Ar.Sharukh as mentor have many success stories behind them. Ar.Sharukh today looks back on a story that began 3 decades ago, a story that began with his home.
What was the year?
I think it was 1980.
1980 it was, absolutely. No cement in India, or most of it going to Asia. Very little available for people like you and me to build. So what did we do?
Well, we had to build. It was important for us to build because we didn't want to stay in the little flat that we were staying, and we were keen on making our home as soon as possible. So we found a friend who had a lime mortar mill, and we organized some lime, and my father, who was an engineer, he went down to Vellore to meet an old mason, a retired mason, to try and find out how to work with lime, to relearn how to work with lime. So we got this lime mortar mill to the site, and we bought some lime, and we started grinding the lime at site, and we built with lime.
How we got the lime? We got the lime in the Mart Vandi. I had a little scooter at that time, and we located the lime clinkers at the Wilson Garden area, and then got those, and because it became very primal with us to build, we said, if we cannot build without this material, we're not worth our salt. And that started the process of looking at alternatives. And that has stayed with us. I think that stayed with Renu and me, and with everybody who has been with the Mistries or who've come through the Mistries.
One thing we realized during this whole exercise was that we must spare our clients this agony and that there was no way we were going to work together. We had to work separately. And even though we decided to open a practice together and have our staff together, and we decided that we would work on certain principles of architecture that we would follow, and certain principles of running our practice, but we would work independently. So this was practically, I think, the first and the last project that we worked together as architects.
And it's still going on. It's still not complete. We are into our 5th renovation. If you come in the next couple of months, a couple of more walls would have disappeared.
Well, I think that we have allowed the house to grow with us. So that's what it is. I don't think it's a 5th renovation. I think it's renovation every year. 35 renovations. So whatever it is. But as our family changed, as our family needs changed, the house has changed with it. So it's a living house. It's not, for us, it's not an inanimate thing. So it's as animate as any of us. and it's changed and it's grown with the family. But there are a lot of things that we stayed with. I mean, we haven't changed very much of the finishes, or we haven't really got more expensive. This house was for 3 lakhs of rupees. We built the entire house for 3 lakhs of rupees. Can you believe it?
No.
The whole house cost us 3 lakhs, and that was a twin house, 2 bedrooms and a study with attached toilets both sides. And now we have a 6-bedroom house after the modification and extension of 1 more floor and everything. But you know, it still has remained. There's a similar finishes, very simple, not very. I mean, we haven't made it expensive, even though at that time we were short of money and we needed to do it cheap and needed to make it cost effective. We kept it that way right through. And even now, when people come to our house, I mean, people who have worked with us for all these years, or people who have known us since the last 25 years, they still say that there's something about this house, it's still your best project.
So Renu, how would you describe Shahrukh?
Oh, Shahrukh. This is something that I'd love to talk about.
I've been waiting for this question for the last 35 years.
Oh no,
God.
I've been talking about it for the last 35 years. Well, I think Shahrukh is a big thinker. He's got big plans, how to save the world, how to save the planet, how to, which of the Nobel Prize winners he should call for the next convention, how he should work towards working out the most beautiful development plan for India. So I always say that Shahrukh takes care of all the macro needs that we have, you know, and I take care of the micro needs.
Shahrukh, this one is for you. Can you tell me what it is about architecture that excites you?
I don't see the difference in what I do in my normal living issues and the practice of architecture. Yeah, I think I see it as just one seamless whole, because a lot of what I think or I experience socially, emotionally, in my relationships, it all kind of comes back to me in my work, in my architecture, and vice versa. The responsibilities that I see in terms of doing a structure or a building or an idea for a person, and then kind of taking it from that idea into an actual reality. So it's the entire process of life, and it's quite seamless. You know, very many times I would say that this probably is a problem, that I'm not able to switch off between what I do at the office and what I do at home.
So if he's had a bad
course,
day at home, then it shows in his work.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think one common redeeming factor is that I need to laugh every couple of minutes. I need to guff out. That's important.
There are many things that excite Shahrukh about architecture, but the most fulfilling is designing for children. So the next stop is the SOS Village, and this is where he turned an inhospitable rock into a living space. Shahrukh believes that the village is the ideal place to foster family values. Started by an Austrian, the SOS Village brings together orphan children under the care of a mother who treats every child as her own.
Regardless of how big or small the kind of projects we do, work and building the children's villages, the SOS Children's Villages, is very, very special, very close to our heart.
Shahrukh's task was to give the children a home, a space to learn, play and grow. The stone quarry that it originally was has been turned into a beautiful living space that is complete with a school and a playground.
SOS is designed always with pride and never with pity.
For Shahrukh, if there is one project that has gone beyond his profession, it is the SOS Village. So can you tell me about the design of the village and how that took place?
Okay, the land is a kind of a knoll with a quarry right in the middle at the top. And then, of course, you have the structure of the earth and the stones kind of continuing there in the middle that you saw. So the village is actually physically set on two sides of the knoll, and both the sides kind of tend to fall down. So along the contours of that knoll are the locations of all the buildings. Having done that, we wanted to kind of make sure that all the water that precipitates on this site, goes and accumulates in this quarry. So now when you see this quarry, which is full of water, there are birds and ducks and geese around. Those were kind of, it was worked out that all the water would go there. There are swales also created from the upper levels for the water to kind of flow. Again, water became an important issue.
Also, do you think there's a need of professionals in this, in this topic to come up and, to the forefront and discuss or even plan or design socially relevant projects?
See, increasingly, if you see, devastation on a natural, caused through natural phenomena because of climate change now is becoming a large issue worldwide. So here is a situation where there is a need for professionals to come in and to work with disadvantaged people at a very, very basic level. And you find that these are areas where you need great professional creative ideas where they are least afforded, because very few architects would spend the kind of time, the emotional as well as their professional time, to kind of do and look after issues that are so pressing in this day and age.
In the 80s, it was not just architecture, but the Mistrys also took pride in setting up their practice. People are their biggest investment, and they have a stellar team of young architects who just love their work. And the passion that Shahrukh and Renu have for their work translates into an amazing work culture at the Mistry Office. The Mistry's workplace is a project of a different kind. I wouldn't call it an office because it isn't so. Perhaps a design workshop? The design here is centered on open structures with light and natural material working their magic on the whole look of the building. This only symbolizes the transparent nature of their work culture. The space is at any point of the day bustling with happy faces and vibrant voices. It's a tight-knit family that works together and eats together. An ideal time to catch all the action and excitement is during lunch, when they get together on the terrace and share not just food but ideas and a whole load of laughter. This is Shahrukh's domain, where his true passion for architecture comes alive, and also all the madness. What does a typical day at the Mistry office look like?
I think it starts with breakfast, right, Ajay? Everybody is ravishingly hungry. So I think it starts with breakfast, and then some people roll in, some people roll out. Each one has their own agenda of either coming to the office first and then going to their sites, or some of them go to their sites first and then come. And they say that it's very clear when I've won a game at golf, I'm in a better mood when I enter the office.
But more precisely, can you tell me about your work culture in the office?
Okay. I think ever since we've started practice, it has been very important to kind of share the good and the bad in a very, very simple way. So I think one of the important things that we've done all these years is to make sure that whatever we receive at the office is shared. And we've been experimenting this methodology in a whole range of ways. It's been successful most of the times, but we've had problems as well. And we continue to keep changing it around so that we arrive at an understanding which is, first thing, transparent and clear, and it shows that there's a care and concern for all.
I've been with the Mistries for about 14 years, and it's not been all about work alone.
I've been trained in this place. I've become a junior architect. Now I'm an associate. So every step, every stage, I feel I've grown not only in terms of my profession but as an individual.
For me, especially, it's being like a godfather.
Shahrukh and Renu have really been like family to me, and whatever I have become today as a person, I attribute to them.
That I greatly owe to Shahrukh for the kind of environment that he's created for all of us.
Shahrukh is just amazing. If I have to put it in a line, I would say, Banda ye binda se.
Now, Shahrukh's magic is powerful enough to create a modern facility with wholesome practices. Applying thought is Wipro's philosophy, and that's exactly what Shahrukh did. The result is the Wipro Headquarters, a prime example of green architecture. Now, is this art or architecture? You'll find out soon. The Wipro corporate office stands out as one of Shahrukh's best designs. Here he integrates the indoors with the outdoors with great aesthetic sense. When you enter the campus, sprawling green lawns and stone walkways with a myriad of plants and trees greet you. The use of stone in every corner dominates in the form of sculptures, steps and buildings, adding charm to the overall look. The campus is in fact driven by sustainable design and is well equipped with the best eco-friendly practices. All of this in the Wipro campus only goes to show how Shahrukh convinced even the IT mogul to go green. Tell me, what are the key factors that have, guided you in the design of this space that are eco-friendly?
I think the first and the most important one was to understand water and understand that whatever water or rain precipitates on this 11 acres of land, that is the only water that we have, because we are coming out of the city. So that was an important thing. It was more important to understand that and then locate even our building footprints. So the idea of allowing the water to flow, creating small holding ponds that you see up here, the one next there, and the larger one towards the other end, are all with that intent in mind. The other thing was recycling that water back into use. So we have, even before it became mandatory, which it is now, we had put in a sewage treatment plant that allowed all that water to be completely reused. The other thing was to use elements of natural materials that were available at the site. So the stone that you see and the stone that you see on the walls were done that way. The other important aspect was that with Wipro coming out into the city, we wanted the people occupying the inner spaces of their work environment, we wanted them to open the windows, because in the city they could not afford to do that because of pollution and noise and dust and things like that. Here it wasn't there. So you see, all the windows practically are all openable. We wanted them to kind of expose themselves to the natural issues. And look what nature has done in these 7 years. I mean, we came and took very fallow, no trees at the site land. But look at this, these trees now are not only propagating a lot of creepy crawlies around, there are birds, there are nests around. And I think generally this whole natural imbibed philosophy which we've carried on even in the basic use of the colors of the buildings and things like that, we're hoping that that continues to grow.
Shahrukh, you must tell me this. Where have you hidden the cars? Because I expected to see at least 100 of them parked somewhere or the other.
Oh, that's a long story and an interesting one at that. Because at one point in time during our design, we were planning to park the cars right across at the other end of the site. But with the way the land was, we suggested that nobody needs to see the top of cars when you come out to a place like this. So at a phenomenal cost to this organization, they agreed that we would tuck them below. These little skylights that you see, they all skylight the basement under all the blocks. So you can come in from the entry, park your cars under the spaces that you're using, and then kind of climb up directly into these areas.
Like Shahrukh says, with the new millennium came bizarre ideas and larger-than-life designs. From converting warehouses to corporate offices to creating theatre spaces literally from scratch. Well, all of that, in a nutshell, was exactly what the Mistries did.
A lot of things have happened since the start of the millennium. Good, bad, great opportunity. I mean, being an architect, such a lot of growth, so many things happening, and wonderful to be here. To us personally, Ranga Shankara happened, DIEC happened. So did my cancer happen. I have a whole lot of emotional and personal questions. That being apart, it's been a great beginning of the millennium.
Now his practice is not only characterized by large architectural projects, but it's the sheer diversity of it that makes for an interesting practice. A great example of Shahrukh's ability to work magic with an existing structure is the ITC building in Bangalore's Coxtown. The ITC campus stands out among other high-rise glass structures in the city. It all started when a group of architects were called together to turn around an old warehouse into a 21st century workplace. Today, the buildings with its semicircular green roofs and red walls sport a common design theme, one of conservation. Shahrukh, you're the green vendor. Who sold you the idea of conservation?
I have actually green coming out of my ears. All right, I think what I'd say was that we met a client who was erudite and knowledgeable and espoused the idea of green. And really, it was their broad vision of retaining these structures and allowing us as creative designers to kind of come in and see what we can do. So I think really it was a win-win situation, and we're thrilled that this came our way because we were able to kind of give new lease to life to what otherwise would have got eradicated.
In typical Mistry fashion, Shahrukh retained the skeleton of the structure. The thick walls were broken down, big open windows were put in, and light was allowed to flood its dingy interiors. And from the top level, the building even resembles a two-story street. Well, the time's perfect for a flashback. A little over 6 years ago, a plot of land stood in Bangalore's JP Nagar, and in the distance was Arundhati Nag the dreamer and Ar.Sharukh Mistry the conceptualizer. It took the Mistries 11 long years of unfaltered determination in helping their friend realize her dream. But before I say too much, let's put our hands together for Ranga Shankara, a building made of not just stone and brick, but with love, faith and determination. Ranga Shankara is Sharukh's fling with the experimental. By helping Arundhati Nag fulfill her husband's dream, Ranga Shankara is a far cry from the broken piece of land that it was a decade ago.
Nobody commercially in their right mind would venture into a program like that. But thank God, because there was nobody commercial in the setting of the people who were doing it, or us, and I would say even going beyond in terms of all our vendors and our contractors and our suppliers. They all stood by. They all stood by, and that was a beautiful revelation.
Today, as you enter the theatre space, you can't help but notice its design features. Detailing is everywhere and it is perfect in scale and function. The staircase that leads up to the auditorium is a giant metallic creature with a life of its own. Ranga Shankara is literally and metaphorically an open place. Anyone is welcome to walk in.
Our purpose was very clear. Somehow, from somewhere, we'll get the funds to be able to kind of go ahead and build it. And that's what kept us going for 11 long years.
It is also one of those projects that brought together artists and designers in a creative collaboration. And as Shahrukh says, it is testament to both innovative architecture and the bonds of friendship. Shahrukh, keeping in mind that Ranga Shankara is essentially a space for performing arts, how did you have the design for the auditorium worked out?
I think it was very clear that the accent or the USP of this space is theatre, and taking into consideration the requirements of the artists and the theatre personalities. So if you see, what we've done now is left practically 50% of the physical space between the end-to-end walls for the thrust proscenium, for all the green rooms, for all the other connected spaces that are so necessary, and only given 50% for the audience. Under normal circumstances, what happens is that the stage and the green rooms and the areas that are required by the artists, those are the ones that go into a squeeze, because the builder, developer, or whoever builds theatres wants to maximize on the number of seats that they want. But here, it was never so. It was designed for the theatre people. It was designed for the artists. And it was accepted that people who come in will kind of sit in unnumbered seats. One would accommodate. We would kind of enjoy this entire experience of the fact that theatre people need those kind of spaces. That was the creative urge and the desire of Ranga Shankara.
Now, this is the 4th year since its completion. If today, with more money, if you could change one thing about this place, what would it be?
This baby took 11 years to deliver. The delivery would have been earlier. I would say that is the only change that would happen, because nothing else needs to change here in that sense of the term. Money would not provide us with anything really different. Maybe we would have, yes, added on the basement if we needed to kind of do that, because that would have allowed us to tuck in a whole range of our other requirements. But otherwise, very little.
Now, coming back to the present, in a technology-driven era, the responsibility of every architect lies in respecting the land. And as Shahrukh puts it, the story behind BIEC is a layered one which draws parallels between human and material responses, a story about sight and insight. It is the sheer volume of BIEC that makes it one of Shahrukh's most dynamic projects. The Bangalore Industrial Exhibition Centre, with its state-of-the-art facilities, caters to the tools and machine industry. A platform that brings together people from all across the world to showcase the best machinery. Spread over 30 acres of land, Shahrukh has gone the full way to make it a green campus by indulging in many eco-friendly practices. This being one of his recent projects, BIEC represents his hope for the future of architecture, to leave lighter footprints on this planet. While we're at BIEC, it is evident that the IMTMA team with Shahrukh didn't wait for development to enhance the quality of the area, but instead took this bare piece of land and turned it into a world-class facility centre. Today, the real estate in this area is booming, with the service industry vying to set up shop here. Shahrukh calls this the enigma of development, where you are the change you want to see. But does this larger thought apply to the city of Bangalore? Should the fraternity as a whole take responsibility for the evolving face of Bangalore?
In a way, yes. But very many times, architects feel that standing in the middle of the road, being the policeman for guiding the traffic, they think that they are actually, moving the traffic. They are not. Along with the responsibility that comes to the profession in terms of design. And I know that in a large way, we are the problem and we are the solution. But we are the problem with a whole range of other professionals and other agencies as well, like the first being the government, who kind of sets policy for development. The second is the developers and the builders themselves. And I think the time has passed where you see a single bottom line. We need to see the triple bottom line. We need to see the bottom line for profit. We need to see the bottom line for corporate social responsibility. We need to see the bottom line of what we are doing to our larger environment. And that we have to see in every endeavor that we undertake to do, whether it is BIEC here or another large development somewhere else. So if we feel that we are the problem, we are also the solution. Bangalore can be what we want it to be. It need not necessarily kind of grow into what it already is or change so suddenly in a decade or two from a beautiful city of gardens or whatever we might call it to something so difficult to imagine what we have done. But we have the capacity to change it and really make it very, very exciting. I think in that frame of mind, we are in the coming year, looking at issues of what a larger developmental model for India should be like. What should be the leadership in terms of the kind of model? The Western model cannot suit us because it has been based on the car.
When Shahrukh meets troubled waters at work, he turns to his children for inspiration. Like in the way he learns about the use of space underwater from his oldest son, the younger ones inspire him through their daring brush strokes and show him the lighter side of life. The ace architect, who is happiest around his wife, kids and dogs, never wants to see the sun go down. And he tells us why. In your manifesto, Shahrukh, you've mentioned something about leaving something behind for the future generation. Can you explain that to me?
Oh yeah. I'll just read this little lines that Jacques Cousteau wrote several years ago, where he says, this is our hope, that the children born today would still have 20 years later a bit of green grass under their feet, a breath of clear air to breathe, a patch of blue water to sail upon, and a whale on the horizon to set them dreaming.